Sam is a fixer and a doer. Whether in the dorm, with the writing fellows, undoubtedly with every organization he's involved with. And he's in just about everything. His quick mind and faster wit give him responses before the rest of us have even started thinking. But his friends think it's the coffee. He says he only drinks 2 or 3 cups a day. His roommate David says it's more like 12. All I know is that I get a caffeine fix every time I walk into his room. It smells more like coffee than Rembrandt's. He never slows down, and trust me, he won't wait for you if you're late when going out to eat. How he goes to bed around 10:30 at night, I have no idea. But if you like the smell of coffee, and if you linger a moment in his room, you can't help but notice 4 Norman Rockwell paintings around his bed. Who even has one of these things in his house? Sam has 4. And maybe that helps explain his value system. He loves fun, can be kinder than anyone I know, works on most things until they're just right, tries to follow God in everything he does. He's loyal to his friends, loves to talk smack, loves his family even more, has done little homework since getting into Wake Forest in the fall, and gives you encouragement by smacking you on the butt. Weird. But I'll tell you this, life is much better having him around, and I'm sure I speak for many by saying that. Sam Best.
David Rosano, you do something every day that completely ticks me off. Take this morning, for example. You lay there, mumbling in your bed till I scream, "David, it's 8:30. Then you slink out of bed, making sure to say, "Hey," to which I always think, it's too freaking early to say hello. Of course, it takes you 20 minutes to get back from what must have been a Caribbean paradise shower, so that when I leave at 8:50 to grab the banana and peanut butter I enjoy every morning, you were just finally shaving that obnoxiously apparent beard of yours. And all this is in the 20 minutes we see each other before class. Though David and I drive each other crazy, my coffee addiction tends to make our room smell like a 2 hours closed coffee house. We have stuck together for 4 years. There's no one that I know better, and no one that I love more than David. The question is, how do we get there? Though I cannot claim being a great friend, not many people can, I've gotten quite a bit better in the past few years. How do I know of this improvement, you ask? Well, my freshman year, I made my roommate cry. I did not punch him with my young, fluffy arm. That would have been like being jabbed with a pillow anyways. I did not throw a stapler at him, an action hyperbolized in a previous chapel talk. Rather, I screamed, I shouted. I freaked out, all because he yelled at me for knocking his robot off of my dresser. As I look back, I'm amazed at how much of a chowderhead I was. I refused to sit down and talk with my old roommate. More importantly, I refused to admit that anything was wrong, though I knew that there clearly was. I completely closed myself to my old roommate and refused with my all to open, even slightly. And I know that what you were thinking, he made a mistake, realized what was wrong, and spent the rest of his life following the solution. I stand here now and tell you that in my case, that didn't happen at all. I didn't get better. I didn't immediately know how to communicate with people, and I surely wasn't able to face the people I had an issue with. Again, you ask, how do you know that? Well, I spent the last 2 months of my freshman year avoiding Rich Pettit at all costs. If I saw him walking towards me in the hallway, I would lunge into the nearest classroom. If I saw him on the quad, I would duck behind a tree. There was not much I could do to avoid him in the showers. Turn around, maybe? But the funny thing is, I don't even remember why I was mad at him. I look back and have no clue where my cat-like avoidance started. And I was fortunate. Rich hasn't avoided me for the past 4 years, but has become one of my best friends. I put an important relationship on the line by not being open with him, by not talking about what was bothering me. These stories bring me to my first point. We, as men, are naturally defensive. We hate being wrong and often deny it when we are. As a result, we shut ourselves off from everyone around us. We dismiss any weakness and at any cost try to maintain our alpha malehood. Yet, what is the cost? Broken friendships, loneliness, enemies? If any of us want a true friend, one that is close and genuinely cares, then we must be willing to disregard our natural instinct of closing ourselves off and open up to those around us. As I moved past my freshman year of high school, I continually got a little bit better as a friend. I think I just stopped one day and took a quick survey of the friendships around me and realized I didn't feel particularly close to anyone. I endured no traumatic event, no loss of loved ones, no significant damage to my body. I just realized that I needed people around me. So I tried to stop exploding on people. I tried to keep my temper under control and not to be such a jerk when someone did something to hurt my feelings. Mr. Lesord has a quote in his apartment that captures my point perfectly. If you want to have a friend, be one. So as I moved into my last 2 years of high school, I tried to embrace that idea, that I need others around me who are close, people to support me when I'm in trouble. And I know the only way to reach that level of friendship with someone was to be there for that friend as well. Last fall, around October, David and I were sitting quietly in our small, cozy room in McClellan when he received a phone call. I remember walking into Tony and Joseph's room next door. I waited 5 or 10 minutes, what seemed like enough time for a simple phone call before walking back into our room. When I walked back in, he was packing. "What are you packing for?" I asked. As he stared down into his quickly filling duffel bag. "Joe has cancer again," he replied quietly. As he looked up from his clothes, I said nothing. Rather, I hugged him. I hugged him, and without a word passing from my lips, comforted him in the only way I knew how, just by being there. He did not need me to tell him trite statements like, "He will fight through it," or "Everything will turn out all right," because it didn't. He needed to know that I would be there when he called me at 3 in the morning, just wanting to talk. He needed to know that I would not change because of his new situation, that I would be the same Sam I had always been. Above all, he needed to know that I would never forget him, despite clothes piling up on his bed, despite rearranging the room to allow more space for the dartboard, that I would never forget him. And above anything, that is what he needed from me. He needed me to be there always, willing to listen, willing to do anything, so that he would know that he was not alone. That is where friendships begin. You've been taught to be manly, to be stoic, to tuck your feelings away so as not to appear vulnerable. Yet I tell you this, the man whose face is stern is the weakest of all. The man who shows no feeling endures the greatest emotional toil. And the man who needs no one needs the love of all those around him. Do not be like me. I exploded on someone when a calm conversation would have done much more good. I leaped into a classroom when one of my best friends was approaching just because I was afraid to talk to him. Never be hesitant to be there for your friend when they need you. Be brave. Dissolve the emotional barriers set in front of you and embrace those you love. When someone needs you, be willing to listen. Be willing to do anything that person needs. For when we finally open ourselves to each other, we are truly set free.